Detective, I'm dead. I'm so cold. Please help me.
Another dream? Leo?
Yes, there's been another case.
A wealthy man was killed in his home.
He was cold, wasn't he?
Yes. The victim was found right here, seated.
Chief Victor, the autopsy report.
The victim is Eric Wilson, a wealthy writer. He had bruises on his limbs, suggesting a physical struggle. He was found with a sharp knife in his chest. There was a small amount of blood.
So just find who had the knife, and you've got the killer.
It's not that simple. The medical examiner found Eric had a severe nut allergy. He had clearly eaten peanuts before death, causing his throat to swell and severely restrict his breathing.
Peanuts?
Here, we found traces of peanut powder near this cake. That must be the source. Eric lived alone. Yesterday, his brother, sister, and nephew came to visit. Eric met with each of them separately in the afternoon. Afterwards, the three waited downstairs for him. When he didn't come down, they opened his bedroom door together and found him dead in the chair.
All three discovered the body together?
Yes. Another odd thing. The bedroom window was open when he was found. The temperature drops to negative 15 degrees Celsius at night here. The body showed signs of freezing. We checked outside. There were no footprints except at the front door. The freezing made the window of time of death very wide, between 4 p.m. and 7:30 p.m.
Detective, I'm dead. I'm so cold.
Leo.
Please help me.
Let's meet the suspects.
The first suspect is Mark Wilson, Eric's brother. A heavy drinker, spends money wildly, deep in debt. He kept asking Eric for loans, but Eric never gave him any.
I got there yesterday at 1:15 p.m. Sarah was already there. David arrived soon after. We visit Eric on this day every month. You know, Eric was a loner. Maybe all successful writers are like that.
You came to borrow money.
Yes. No! I care about Eric. Of course, I also hope to borrow some money. This drinking habit, I can't help it.
What happened yesterday?
Eric had a habit of speaking with each of us alone in his room. I went in at 4:30 p.m. The room was dim. Eric liked to keep the curtains drawn with just a desk lamp on. We talked for about 20 minutes, then I left. He only took a few bites of the chocolate cake I brought. Really, my wife spent hours making it.
You brought the cake?
Yes, he loved my wife's cake.
Did you know about Eric's nut allergy?
Of course. Everyone knows. He's my dear brother. There were absolutely no nuts in that cake.
Anything else strange yesterday?
Don't recall anything strange. After I came out, I sat in the living room downstairs. David was in the kitchen, probably looking for food. Later, Sarah and David each went to see Eric. Oh, Sarah and Eric had a huge fight. Very loud. After David came out, the three of us sat in the living room. Around 6:30 p.m., Eric called David, saying he'd come down in an hour. But he never did. We went upstairs together and then found him.
The second suspect is Sarah Wilson, Eric's sister, a gambling addict, deep in debt. Also kept asking Eric for money. He never gave her any either.
I arrived at Eric's yesterday at 1 p.m. Mark and David came later. I was the second to go into the bedroom, around 5 p.m. We talked for about 20 minutes. Then I left.
You argued?
Yeah, I wanted to borrow money, but Eric, He's so stubborn. Wait, who told you? David or Mark? Must be Mark. He argued too. Why single me out? He didn't just argue. I think they got into a fight. I heard things falling.
Did David argue?
No, David had no reason to argue anymore. When his company was in trouble, Eric offered no help. David is bankrupt now. He looked terrible all day yesterday.
Anything else strange happen?
Let me think. Eric was acting odd yesterday. Usually he just comes downstairs, but yesterday he called, said he'd come down in an hour. That was strange.
The third suspect is David Wilson, Eric's nephew. His company was involved in a fraud scandal and went bankrupt. He's also buried in debt. Of course, he also asked Eric for money. And Eric never gave him any.
I got there yesterday at 1:25 p.m. Mark and Sarah were already there. They went up to talk with Eric one after another. I waited in the living room. I went into his room around 5:30 p.m., talked for a bit, then came out.
Did you argue with Eric?
Nothing to argue about. When my company was failing, I begged him for help. Eric did nothing. He just watched it go under. Ha.
But you were involved in fraud.
Only the bold have a chance to make real money. I don't blame him for that. I blame myself for not running the company better.
See anything strange yesterday?
Not really. They were both in Eric's room arguing. Pointless. That miser would never help anyone. Oh, Sarah, after Mark went upstairs, she was in the kitchen for a long time, getting food. I was watching TV in the living room. That's it.
Chief, any new findings?
The knife in Eric's chest came from the kitchen downstairs. No fingerprints on it. Eric's phone was found on the bed. He did call David at 6:30 p.m. yesterday. The call lasted 5 seconds. Tests confirmed the cake contained peanut powder, but it wasn't baked in. Someone sprinkled it on later. We found traces of unwashed peanut powder in the kitchen sink. Also, Mark has some bruises on his arm.
Did anyone else visit yesterday?
No, just those 3. Also, there were no footprints in the snow under Eric's window, and no signs of climbing outside. The killer definitely didn't come in through the window.
That is strange. Leo, what do you think?
The real killer is one of them. Lillian, let's go over the case. 1 p.m., Sarah arrives. 1:15 p.m., Mark arrives. 1:25 p.m., David arrives. 4:30 p.m., Mark goes to Eric's room with the chocolate cake. They talk for about 20 minutes. A heated argument happens. Sounds of things falling. During this, Sarah is in the kitchen eating. David watches TV. 5 p.m., Sarah goes into the room. They talk for about 20 minutes. Another heated argument. During this, David is in the kitchen eating. Mark sits in the living room. 5:30 p.m., David goes into the room. They talk for about 20 minutes. No argument. He comes out around 6 p.m. All 3 sit together in the living room. 6:30 p.m., Eric calls David, says he'll come down in an hour. 7:30 p.m., the 3 go upstairs to check on Eric and find the body. Eric's time of death is between 4 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. So, Lillian, any thoughts?
I'm stuck. After the 6:30 p.m. call, all 3 were together. Unless they all killed him together, or someone else was hiding in the house. I can't figure it out.
No, Lillian. The killer is one person, and it's one of them. So, who is it? Who is the real killer? Is it Mark Wilson? Sarah Wilson? Or David Wilson? Detectives watching, any ideas?
Warning! The truth is coming.
The real killer is Sarah Wilson.
What? Why her?
You've been stuck on one thing. Eric called David at 6:30 p.m., right? You assumed Eric was still alive then.
Well, wasn't he?
Everyone saw the call happen, but did Mark or Sarah actually hear Eric's voice? What if David staged the whole call?
You mean?
Yes. Eric was already dead by then. Chief Victor, I'm guessing Eric's phone had no fingerprints on it, right?
Oh, you're right. How did I miss that? But how can you be sure Eric was dead then?
Let's start from the beginning. All three are in debt. Mark, desperate for money, still had his wife carefully make a chocolate cake with no nuts, as police confirmed. Yet, peanut powder was found near the cake at the scene, and also in the kitchen sink. What does that mean?
I see. Sarah or David sprinkled the peanut powder. They both were in the kitchen.
Exactly.
What about the knife in Eric's chest?
Because two people wanted Eric dead. David faked the phone call to make Mark and Sarah think Eric was still alive. David hated Eric for not saving his company. While Sarah was in Eric's room, David went to the kitchen and got the knife. Later, during his own visit, he stabbed the knife into Eric's chest. Then he opened the window, letting in the freezing air to mess with the time of death estimation. He took Eric's phone, waited an hour back in the living room, made the fake call, and created his alibi.
So, our initial assumption about the killer was wrong.
Oh! After they all entered the room together later, David wiped the phone clean and tossed it on Eric's bed.
Right. But David isn't the real killer. Because when he entered Eric's room, Eric was already dead.
So, Sarah wasn't just getting food in the kitchen, she was grinding peanut powder.
Sarah went in, failed to get money, argued, and then sprinkled the peanut powder on the cake. After she left, Eric ate it. The allergic reaction was instant. His throat swelled, and he suffocated.
But how do you know Eric was dead before David went in?
Mark said Eric kept the room dark with the curtains drawn, so David wouldn't have noticed Eric was dead. Also, the knife was plunged deep into the chest, but there wasn't much bleeding, because Eric's heart had already stopped.
Sarah confessed. The police found out Eric had already donated half his wealth to charity. The other half was used to set up a family trust fund. Starting next month, Mark, Sarah, and David would all receive money from it.
The weather is cold, but the human heart can be colder. Now I've found your killer. You should be at peace, kind writer.